talking about some of the work that we're doing in the area of context-aware microphone. Okay. Let's make some time for people coming from the coffee break. Okay, better now? So, I'm going to be talking about some of the work we're doing in the area of context-aware and personalized search using social input. And some of the work I'm involved directly, working in recommender systems, but some other, it comes from other people in our lab, like Maria Puyol and Karen Church. But first, let me tell you a little bit about Telefonica and Telefonica research. So, let me see, how many of you out there don't know what Telefonica is? Hands up. Okay, so quite a few people. So, for the last 3 years, since I've been working in Telefonica, it's a little bit striking for me to go into conferences and have to explain people what Telefonica is, because Telefonica is actually a pretty big company in many parts of the world. So, Telefonica is a telecom company that has been growing a lot in the past 20 years. Actually, here you have some key figures going up to 2008, but as you can see, it went in 20 years from 89 to 2008, from 12 million customers to over 260 million customers. It was operating only in Spain at the beginning, but it now operates in over 25 countries. And we have different brands, especially the O2 brand, operating in all of Europe. And we're also leaders in most of South America. So actually, in terms of market cap, it's the third telecom in the world, a little bit under AT&T, and we're switching places with Vodafone, so 1 month we are third, and the next month they are third. So this is Telefonica, and Telefonica R&D is actually a branch of the corporation, which is the largest R&D center in Spain, and it's actually the third largest in Europe in terms of investment in research and development. So people in Europe and South America know us, but people in North America and Asia probably don't know the name. And in Telefonica R&D, we started 3 years ago a group on scientific research. So we're currently around 25 permanent researchers, and we take interns and postdocs and so on. And these are the areas that we're working on. So as you can see, we're working on multimedia core, which means multimedia analysis and so on. We're working on mobile and ubiquitous computing, content distribution, peer-to-peer, social networks, wireless systems, and what's more relevant to what I'm going to be talking now, user modeling, data mining, and HCIR. Okay, so that's enough of my elevator pitch for a big corporation, and I hope that people came in from the coffee break by now. And I'm going to walk you through some of the work that we're doing, but more than give you details about research, I'm going to point you to some papers, and I'm going to talk about some of the things that I've been missing, actually, in general from the conference, and in particular from the industry track. Some of them related to the importance of social and mobile, for instance. Right? So, I'm pretty sure you're all familiar with the concept of information overload, and maybe even with this picture, right? We're getting tons of information. I remember the first time I used this picture, I was quoting the amount of information in terms of megabytes or terabytes we're getting a day. But now, 3 years after, the concept of a day even seems outdated, right? We're talking now by the minute or by the second. And in that context, another idea that I'd like to talk about is this concept of the paradox of choice, which is, by the way, a very interesting book by Barry Schwartz, in which he talks about why more is less. So the idea here is why infinite choice, or even just a very large amount of choice, does not lead to more freedom of choosing. And actually, in many cases, it leads to less. And this is very interesting. There are many examples. So the idea is, when you have many choices, you have two effects. First effect is that you tend to choose less. This is what's known as the paralysis by analysis. So you have to analyze so many options, you say, you know, the heck with it, I'm not going to do any of them, just go home. The other thing is that even if you choose, you tend to choose worse. Because having many choices, you have to oversimplify the option you choose, and you tend to choose by just superficial features or matters. So, something that I'd also like to point out, and I think it's pretty relevant for the audience, is that search is not always the answer, right? So I see some people thinking that search is like an ultimate need for people. It's like people search because they need to search. And my idea here is people search because they need to access relevant information. Search is a tool we give them, and of course they're going to use whatever they need. But if we give them different tools, they're going to access information in a different way. In particularly, we're already seeing now that people are going away from traditional search engines and finding information in their social network through Facebook. Right? It's not about searching, it's about getting information that is relevant to me and about finding relevant filtering mechanisms in some cases, or just friends pointing me to whatever they're doing, which is enough. Right? And one of the reasons that search is not the answer to everything is because the interface for search is not as trivial as we might think. Actually, for us, researchers and geeks in general, formulating the right query might seem trivial, but we've already seen some examples before by some of the other presenters on the industry track of why queries are not so easy as we might think, right? And if I see my mom trying to Google for something, I can verify that it's not so easy to formulate a query for regular people. So, what is the answer? Or what is the key to how can we get out of this situation? So, as I mentioned before, one of the important aspects is that you're not alone. There are a lot of people looking for answers, looking for relevant information, some of which can actually help you. So, one of the ideas is that's what friends are for, right? If I'm looking for information that is relevant, maybe my friends can also help me get to that relevant information. So actually I did a very small experiment here in Twitter, for those of you who follow me in Twitter, and I posted a question 2 days ago. And I was asking, actually I'm not going to repeat the question, but I'll just put it this way. What's this girl's name? Right? So I received 3 answers that were correct over Twitter or email. I don't know if anybody in the audience that did not reply to me knows the answer. Nobody? Okay, I was giving away, by the way, I was giving away a dinner in a very nice restaurant in Barcelona. So now I have to choose between the 3 people that answered. However, think the way that these people came to the answer was really striking for me. So these are the 3 people that went and found the answer. So that was my daughter's name that I was asking for. And actually my daughter's name is in my homepage, 3rd sentence. It's right here. The only thing that happens is that the word daughter is not there, right? So I'm talking about children, and I gave my 2 children's name. If you try to Google for my name and daughter, you won't find it. So how did these people get to the information? So for instance, Oscar, he knows me very well for many years. He remembered that I lived in Santa Barbara for some time. He Googled for my name in Santa Barbara, and he came up to a personal blog. And in the personal blog, he read some posts, and he found the name, and he sent it. Gene, whom I don't know personally, did a very smart thing, actually. So he went to my Twitter page. From there, he went to Blogger. He realized that I had 2 blogs, one technical and one personal. He went to my personal blog. He realized it was in Catalan. He doesn't speak a word of Catalan, but he knows a little bit of Italian and French. He interpolated between both languages and figured out that the name was Ariana. And finally, the only person that went through my homepage actually was Neil, over there. He knows me, but he didn't know the name. And he's connected to me in Facebook. So he actually went into Facebook